from outside that internet cafe. You could hear someone yelling, "Did you see? There's a new map by Kanshi on DC." Another person replied, coolly, "Yeah, only just found out now." In front of the computer screens, they kept chattering. "I snatched first place as soon as I woke up this morning." "What, all by yourself?" The young man in the gray shirt emphasized one thing. "But this map is crazy, unbelievably hard." The friend next to him kept playing, "I told you that Kanchi guy is not human." Despite their constant chatter, a young man in the back calmly enjoyed his snacks. How can he climb the top one that fast every time a new map drops? But he's using a bot or something, there is no other way. Turns out he was the very subject of their conversation, and his friend teased him. "Hear that, you use a bot." Putting that aside, he suddenly got irritable. "Hey, why you keep eating here? You're loaded." Keller's eyes never left the computer screen. "Don't you know the food here is super good?" Then he focused back on the game. "And this time, I am taking first again, get ready." His friend immediately replied, Yeah. At that moment, the screen was displaying 1. The strongest dungeon reserved for the strongest. 2. The strongest dungeon reserved for the strongest. 3. Local flavor dungeon. He started getting hot-headed and making wild guesses. "This idiot, you're talking like first place is already in the bag. You must be using a bot." Who would have thought he would actually be landing hits left and right? Keller's face then turned serious. "Well, I guess they're not entirely wrong." He suddenly remembered the final boss fights. "I only find joy in the game world and the maps I create." Keller's expression suddenly sank as if he were pondering something. Not long after, the staff's cheerful voice called out, "Have a nice day." His buddy hurriedly said goodbye, but still left an important reminder. "All right, see you tomorrow. Don't forget to whip out that bulging wallet and treat me." He was happy to oblige. "Yeah, see you tomorrow." Alone, Keller walked down the street with his thoughts all over the place. If I am ever asked why I am so obsessed with this game amid the bustling crowd, he pondered the reason. It is because there is nothing I can control in the real world. Maybe that is why Keller's eyes have long since gone vacant. I find it easy to do everything in the game while everything seems impossible in real life. Gazing at the scene before him, he slips back into contemplation. Even those defunct power poles are things I can't move. Even while crossing the street, Keller remains lost in thought. If this weren't a game, I could change their shape and size with just a single mouse click. From the other side, a truck suddenly barrels in at breakneck speed. However, he seems unaware of the danger closing in. Only when the engine lets out a screech does Keller instinctively turn to look. Unfortunately, in the real world, he then stands frozen in place. Even an object like a truck can't be erased just because I want it gone. The distance between him and that wildly careening vehicle is steadily shrinking. But luckily, it managed to slam on the brakes, just in the nick of time. Even though he would just had a close call, Kellis still looked calm. That was scary. "I thought I would been ice guide or something." The driver stuck his head out and started swearing. "Hey, you got a death wish? Or what? Watch where you're going." He could not be bothered to argue and nonchalantly pointed off in a direction. Turn out, it was the traffic light by the road. "Sir, look at the signal first." As soon as he finished, Keller kept walking while the man looked bewildered. When did the light change? Because of this, his mood grew even heavier, so stifling. Just as he was passing a construction site, Keller had an idea. If I could change everything in real life like in a game, everything would be so much more convenient. You unconsciously made a wish unaware of what the future was about to bring. In that case, I'll be able to create the world I want. From above, a long iron bar suddenly slipped free of its restraints, and then it just went in a free fall, sending everyone into a panic. "Oh, no. The crane. Get out of the way." Unfortunately, a little girl was standing right there in front of Keller. His heart suddenly lurched. His eyes froze in that direction. However, the little girl still stared wide-eyed at the iron bar falling down. At the critical moment, Keller's hand shot out in the present. The ball the girl was holding simply flew up into the air. Her whole body was then hit by a force that sent her crashing to the ground. When the girl struggled to get up, her expression and eyes were utterly stunned. Because he took the hit for the girl this time, I could only control my own body. At that moment, could only breathe weakly. His lifeless eyes with no light left in them slowly narrowed. See? Then he squeezed them shut with his last bit of consciousness. This is reality. Not long after, Keller again found himself free-falling in another space. His eyes opened wide, staring upward. Where is this? But I can only see a hazy, blurry void around me. It is so dark. It feels like I am in a black hole. Am I still alive? Right then, a commanding voice rang out, startling Keller, mortal. Before him was the grotesque face of a demon. How was the hell of oblivion? It's time for you to face reality. Those words rattled Keller. Who are you? And what is the hell of oblivion? But the demon only replied with a cryptic line. Death is merely a tool for reincarnation. That alone was enough to leave him dumbstruck. What? The demon suddenly closed in and released waves of strange energy. Let me give you a chance to jog your memory. That vague, looming presence pressed Keller to the point of discomfort, and he snapped, What the hell are you talking about? Speak more plainly. However, the demon paid it no mind and just focused on finishing its task. "Oh, forgotten one. Open your eyes." This sent him into a blind panic. "Wait, what are you doing? Wait." An indescribable sensation surged in, keeping Keller from saying anything more. In the blink of an eye, Keller awakened with a strange new appearance. The first thing he did was scream in terror. Once he calmed down, Keller found himself standing in a strange room. "What is this?" He quickly glanced around and surmised, "This looks like a castle." Then he did not even recognize himself when he caught a glimpse in the window. This person island. Once it sank in, Keller panicked and stared at his hands. "Me. What? I am not dead." Everything that happened left him dumbstruck, muttering, "Did I just get ice-skied like in a game? For real? No way." Keller was so stunned by his present self he nearly toppled over, but this feeling, it was far too real. The more he looked at himself, the more anxious he became. This was not a dream. Soon after, Keller seemed to accept the truth. So be it. He then carefully examined the things around him. "Where am I? It looks like an ancient castle." Once again, he fell into a daze. "Who am I?" Right then, a blue aura suddenly flashed, accompanied by a menacing voice. "Were you muttering to yourself about?" Only then did Kala startle and whip around in that direction. Before he could do anything, Selder struck him down on the spot with a single slash. He coughed up blood, his eyes frozen on the side. Sharp blade, jutting from his chest. What the from behind? She coldly pulled the sword out, sending a fresh wave of agony through Keller. Seeing him clutch his chest and cough, Seldora grew even more excited. "Well, you think you're gonna die, do not you?" Keller looked in fear at the blood-red wound on his upper torso. It hurt so much, she would driven the blade straight through his sternum. Then panic written across his face, he demanded, "Why did you do that?" But Seldra felt no guilt whatsoever, even seemed nonchalant. "Why? What is that supposed to mean?" She then raised her sword high to strike again. "I hate you. So, of course, I am trying to get rid of you." Having just come back to life and seeing this, Kella could not believe it. "What? She really intends to kill me." But luckily, Seldra's action was stopped by someone. Realizing who it was, she turned and snapped, "Tarm, why are you getting in my way again?" Tarm opened the vial in his hand, affecting a proper air. "Come on, Seldra. You should not do that to your own brother." His appearance only made Kellum more confused. What the hell is going on and who is this now? He froze for a moment when he saw Tarm kneel before him. "Poor Kellum. You got bullied by Seldra again today. Here, drink." Without the slightest caution, he gulped it down. This must be like an elixir of thank heavens. It had not been long before he put on that sinister tone again. "What is this? Today, you were just gonna drink it like that." That mysterious liquid was only now taking effect on Keller. It made him spew out a large amount of thick, pinkish red fluid. Once he finished vomiting, Keller doubled over, clutching the part that had taken all the abuse. It felt like his throat was burning. "It hurts. It is so hot. Is it poison?" Not stopping there, Seldora bent down to look at him with a pitying air. "You're about to die, but I want you to die by my hand." As for Tarm, he leisurely folded his arms after using Keller like a guinea pig. "Looks like he's in pain, but I do not think he will die. Looks like this formula is a failure too." He could now only see his future as dark as the future of the guy making the story. Why do I have to endure this? Right then, the great door slowly opened, letting the fog pour in. Flickering figures appeared along with a commanding voice. The Demon King Hel Kaldan had returned from hunting heroes, but neither Tarm nor Seldora seemed particularly surprised. "Father, you are back already earlier than expected." Even in pain, Kellis still listened to everything. What father? The one who had appeared had a solid horn and sinewy hands. That imposing authoritative presence piqued his curiosity. The Demon King, Hel Khaldun. Soon after, Hel coldly spoke his first judgmental line. "Why am I hearing these disgusting sounds?" Keller's eyes suddenly widened in shock. He is the Demon King. Under his questioning, Seldora immediately blamed him. "I am sorry, father." He started it, but Hel did not need to hear any further explanation and directly grabbed her and Tarn by the throats. "Shut up." His fury only grew. It is shameful that the moans of the weak echo through the walls of the Demon King's castle. Seldra's whole body trembled from lack of air. "I am sorry, father." Tarm too gritted his teeth until his face contorted as he pleaded for forgiveness. "Father, I am sorry. Please have mercy." A scene of domestic violence left Keller utterly stunned, especially since those two were his own siblings. By now, he had gradually grasped his identity in this reincarnation. So this Demon King was his father. Things grew more serious when Hel bluntly stuck his foot out and said, "I only want to hear two sounds in my castle, the sound of a great demon being born." It seemed Keller also sensed that something ominous was about to happen. "Wait." His eyes showed only malice and cruelty as he decisively raised his leg high, and the sound of an honorable death. And what happened next only made Keller's eyes widen in agony. Outside the castle, Keller's piercing scream seemed to tear the very air apart. After dealing with his 3 children, Help just walked away racked by dry, racking coughs. Keller's whole body was covered in wounds. his eyes lifeless from what had just happened. After getting thrashed by them one after another, he finally accepted the truth. So I really have been reincarnated into another world. Seeing Hell's defiant swagger right in front of him, Keller felt a bit resentful. But I am actually this bastard's son. The more he thought about it, the more he gnashed his teeth in anger. Damn it. Then he fumed over his rotten luck, of all people. Did it really have to be the Demon King? Back then, the story opened with Keller's aggrieved sobbing. Mom, Seldor has stabbed me in the eye with a fork. Even so, Karist only gently consoled him. Oh, no, that must hurt a lot. Seeing that, he cried even louder. Tarman put poison in your food. But this time, there was a hint of sternness in her eyes. Well then, she then sternly instructed Keller, you should retaliate against them like a demon. However, he did not dare act like that out of fear. If you do that, Seldra and Tarm will kill you. Karist continued with her cruel admonitions. Then you just need to kill them first before you die. Those words made Kella stop crying and shock clearly showed in his eyes instead. Right after that, she told him about Hell's supposedly glorious feats. Your father killed 12 of his own brothers and became a great demon king. What I mean is, if someone tries to kill you, you should kill them first. As soon as she finished speaking, Karist pulled out a firearm hidden behind her back. Then she coldly stabbed Keller just like that. The sudden act made him let out a scream. After striking, Karist put on the air of a gentle mother and whispered in Keller's ear like a fiend. But that only made his fear and despair surge. Mother, her voice still echoed in his ears. Do you understand, Keller? Back in the present, Keller let out a scream and jolted upright from the nightmare. The maid quickly inquired, You are awake, sir. But he was still lost in thought. This is the body I have reincarnated into. Those were Keller Calden's memories. He hurriedly examined his body, but the wounds on it had completely healed. From that, he could determine one thing. Keller possessed a formidable regenerative ability. Seeing he still had not quite come to, the maid could only sigh ruefully. You slept a bit long this time, Master Kella. But she still patiently urged him. It is almost time for the family meal. Please get up. Kella stared blankly and replied, All right. Facing his personal maid, Rin, he suddenly fell in a thought. Keller was far more timid than his siblings, so he was always looked down on. Thinking back to when she gave the order, Please wear that outfit for this party. The former Keller would have wanted to retort, but I heard Tarm's servant dresses him. But Rin boldly shot back, Then you can dress me too? Those words left a naive youth like him utterly flustered. No, I will dress myself. Their roles were reversed when she brazenly ordered. Today's task is washing the blankets. Kella, look bewildered, but that is your job, something my servant should do. Ren could not be bothered to argue and went straight to sleep on the bed, leaving him helpless. That is my spot. She even dared to toy with Kella. Rin, did she send a puppet to do her job for her? Her disrespectful behavior inevitably made him frown. Kella, this brat, how could he have let himself, the Demon King's son, be threatened by a servant? By now, he seemed to have fully settled into his reincarnated role. That is right, Keller. All his pin-up anger showed in his tightly clenched fist. Turns out he could relate to this wretched situation, helplessly bullied all this time. Life here was no different from his previous life. His brows knit tight, his eyes resolute. Those who appear weak will die. When Keller arrived in the hall, everyone was already seated at the table. Hell kept the same hostile attitude and rebuked him. You are late, Keller. His aura made him falter a little. His presence was overwhelming. I guess there's a reason he is the Demon King. But Keller forced himself to look calm and sat down. I am sorry, I am late. As soon as he sat down, Seldora picked a fight. Welcome, Keller. A knife was flung and stuck deep in his leg. The pain shot through him, but Keller was determined to endure it, so he would not scream. That look made the servants in the back laugh out loud and earned Seldora's approval. You look lifeless, eat up. At that moment, Keller's vigilance spiked. Who knew what would happen if they discovered who he was? He tried to act like he was fine. All right, thank you. While telling himself, I have to endure, Keller went ahead and took his first spoonful of food. In no time, it made him feel unwell. This is not food. Is it poison? The one who did this is none other than Tar. That soup was made just for you. It tastes great, does not it? Once again, Keller had to endure it and pretend to be fine. That is right. He looked at the three of them in turn with contempt in his heart. These devils. Then he firmly asserted a truth. They were not his family. Hatred and fury surged uncontrollably. I won't let them bully me anymore. I have to settle this because that was Keller's nature in his previous life. I always wanted to achieve things on my own. In fact, reality was the clearest proof. With that mindset, I was recognized as the best map designer in a game. However, he was openly bullied by others, but when it came to real life, if I am assaulted by my own family and can only endure it, there's nothing I can do. Keller remembered the horrific scene from the day of the accident. I never want to. That pitiful sight only steeled his resolve that in this reincarnated life he would never die so hopelessly again. With the fire surging in his chest, Keller dared to glare back at them. He slowly picked up the bowl of soup and called out in a menacing voice, Seldora. Then he flung it straight into her stunned face. You should taste the soup Tarme too. He then decisively pulled out the knife lodged in his leg. Tarm, let me give it to you. This time, Keller hurled the knife hard straight at him. The gift Seldorit gave me, starting off this wild, made hell freeze for 5 seconds. But that was just a prelude. He decided to go big by placing both hands under the table. Dad, why should demons gather and have a happy family dinner together? Keller aggressively flipped the dining table to see if his old man would be impressed. From now on, let us eat separately. Sure enough, even the old man, Tarm, and Seldora were scared out of their wits. From now on, he resolved to go all out against them. Let us see who is better, you demons. At last, peace returned to the ancient castle. Kellen now wore an utterly smug face. It felt great, while Rin looked at him with a judging gaze. What is wrong with him? The consequences he got for that outburst were no joke. After flipping the table, he was beaten half to death. Hell, then kicked Keller hard to punish him. Have you lost your mind? But there was not a single trace left on my body. I would have made a full recovery in just a short time. I kept staring at my hand. I could feel an uncanny power. Only then did I reach a final conclusion. It seems I really am the Demon King's son. This only stoked my curiosity further. Just how strong is this ability really? Right then, Rin started nagging from behind. Master Kella, it is almost time for the demonic arts class. You need to get there quickly. I turned back and snapped. I know. Stop ordering me around like that. She froze up stiff as a board. Why was he acting like that? My mood shifted to contemplation. A class on demonic arts. Then I carefully assessed the situation. According to my memories as Keller, this was one of the worst things I would ever experienced. But there was no reason to avoid it. Therefore, he decided to go to another castle to attend a class. At this moment, Suho stepped forward to announce, Lady Seldora and young Master Tarm will not be joining us today. It seems everyone else is present. Everyone responded in unison, yes. Meanwhile, Keller was quietly observing every face here. So it is this lot. The ones standing beside him were giving him angelic smiles. I remember them from Keller's memories. That moment clearly showed Keller's fear. I really can't do this. Even so, Rude stubbornly raised a hand brimming with magic. It seemed there was no other choice. Then he straight up smacked the other guy on the head after all. This is a class. Keller could only curl up and endure. That hurts. But what really upset him was the others' indifference. They were true devils, devils among devils. Even Seldora and Tarm watched with relish, reveling in bullying Kella as if it were their own game. Not stopping there, she egged him on. Hey, are not you being too lenient with him? Rude turned back, bewildered. Excuse me. Seldor's whole face spelled malice. There is no need to hold back. Show us your true ability. I permit it. That was all he would been waiting for. He lit up. Thank you, Lady Seldora. He then shot Kella a sinister look. Shall we begin? Then at that moment, Kella could only plead earnestly, please stop. In the end, he chose to grit his teeth and endure. I did not want to fight. Please stop. Back to the present. He was utterly furious. Keller was by no means weak. His hand clenched so tightly that veins bulged. He just had a gentle heart. This time after being reborn, I swore I would change everything. But now everything is different. Excitement surged through every cell and vein in my body. I will use this power the right way. Suho looked at the roster in his hand with interest. Now then, shall we begin? Who was supposed to fight just now? Rude was already picking a fight before we even started. It was Keller and me. He even put on that hateful, sarcastic tone. I should call you Lord Keller. But he deliberately raised his voice. Sorry. Keller felt 1,000 arrows of resentment pierce his heart. That bastard. After the two of them took their positions, Suho announced loudly, good. Then let us proceed with the second practice match. The moment it started, Rude gathered mana into both hands. Alright, are you ready? The onlookers were already passing judgment like they knew it all. Looks like young Master Keller is going to get beaten within an inch of his life again today. Go easy on him. Rude, where the young master will start crying again. The mocking laughs ringing out only made Keller even angrier. Those bastards. Meanwhile, Rude on the opposite side was downright exhilarated. It made him fall in a thought. Keller and I are alike in many ways. At that moment, memories of being isolated resurfaced in Keller's mind even from his previous life. Those hostile looks were what I had to endure. I had no money or strength and everyone looked down on me. Back in the present, Keller had turned all of that into inner strength and was unleashing it fiercely, but those days were behind him. Seeing the surging magic before him, Rude was utterly flustered. What is this? Does Keller have that much mana? People around them started whispering, what is that demonic power? Is it for real? He could only stand there rooted to the spot. His face twisted like he would bitten into a chili. I can't move under this pressure. Meanwhile, Keller coldly lunged in with a fist. Today, I will go easy on you. Take a hit. The terrifying force instantly warped Rude's face. His whole body carried by sheer momentum slammed down and cracked the ground. The remaining demons turned pale. What the Rude could not even react. Even Suho, scared out of his wits, blurted out, is he dead? Luckily, Rude has not logged out of the server yet, even if his interface is a bit busted. After landing him a painful blow, Keller coldly questioned, "What did you just say, Rude? You dare speak to the Demon King's son like that?" At that moment, he switched to coward mode and pleaded, "Please spare me, Lord Keller." He glared at the other man and warned, "Don't repeat that in front of me or you will die." Not only Rude, but even the demons outside were scared stiff. How could that be? That is obviously the good-for-nothing Keller. After finishing up, Keller suddenly called out, "Teacher." Sue, startled at being addressed, jolted and said, "Yes." He kept up his deranged act. "Shouldn't you continue teaching?" Just one sentence from me was enough to scare him half to death, was not it? After witnessing it, Rin could not believe her eyes. Lord Keller, a doubt sprouted in her heart. He was clearly very strange. At the same time, Hell was standing on the upper corridor of the castle watching everything. His gaze lingered on Keller's somewhat nonchalant demeanor. He grew pensive as if contemplating something important. Meanwhile, at Hell Kaldan's castle, an enraged voice echoed, "I cannot forgive him." It turned out to be Seldora, who was still seething. "That bastard dared to throw poison soup in my face." Tarm cut in wearily, "Seldora, calm down, and focus on healing already." He then reminded her of an obvious fact. "You do not have Kella's insane regeneration." Hearing that, she screamed even louder, "That is weird too. Why is he the only one with recovery power at that level?" His expression suddenly darkened. "It seems Kella has undergone a change. Thinking back to your outburst at the table, from now on let us eat separately." That sudden act made everyone freeze for a few seconds. Right then, Tarm heard an even more startling sound from Hell. He saw with his own eyes the subtle curl of his lip. Even if only for a moment, Father smiled for the first time in our lives. It shocked Tarm so much he stared wide-eyed. But this made Seldora even more jealous and furious. He never expected Father to smile at someone like Kella. He suddenly felt a little uneasy. Yes, that was not normal. Only then did she calm down a bit. "So what do you mean by that?" Tarma's demeanor had grown more subdued than usual. "Seldora, you would probably rather die than team up with me." But that took Seldora by surprise. Her gaze on him held a hint of curiosity. After hesitating for a few seconds, Tarm put his flippin' air back on and suggested, "How about we call a truce and take care of Keller together?" The idea made her scoff. Then she immediately agreed. Not a bad idea. The two of them now shared a single goal: kill Keller first, before he draws Father's attention again. Back in the classroom, Kella looked utterly shocked by something. Turk's bewitching look and sly smile caught his attention. It turns out that was just an image Suho created to use as reference. Alright, this is the previous Demon King, Turk Kaldan. In Keller's head, a knee-jerk remark popped up. What the face, she looks downright devious. But Suho kept lecturing from the podium with reverence. Lord Turk was stronger than anyone else at the time. He only passed away because he fell prey to a vile scheme set up by the Heavenly Council. He thought back to the hidden figures behind that incident. Since then, the profiteering guilds have gathered around our kingdom. He would already understood this from what lingered in his mind. The guilds encircling the Demon Kingdom were still seared into Keller's memory. At the time, he was dejectedly leaning against the railing, all because of those damned guild bastards. Staring out the endless sky ahead, he said sadly, "I can't even get out of this castle." Keller dropped to his knees on the ground. "I never imagined I would have to live here forever. Damn it." Back to reality. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Suho stood before the whole class and voiced his hatred, saying that with the Grand Celestial Society as their backing, those bastards are preparing to attack this kingdom. Finally, in a low voice, he called for manpower. Therefore, to help the Demon King wipe out those bastards, pour your heart and soul into the resistance class. The demons roared with vigor. Yes, for the honor of demonkind. Keller, however, remained silent, his face still pensive. Not long after, under the overcast sky, he sat dazed, staring into the distance. Before him lay a freer land. So he told himself, "I have to find a way out of here." Keller kept staring ahead with his thoughts in a jumble. If he stayed here, turns out he would already foreseen what was coming, that she could die at any moment. After a while of silence, Keller finally spoke up. "Rin, you said Father will leave in 3 days, right?" Rin looked at him warily. "Yes, that is right." At that moment, she could not make out the other person's expression. "Do you know?" Right then, Keller suddenly stood up and stressed, "This castle has a weak point." Alarm bells instantly went off in Rin's mind, so sudden. He slipped his hands into his pockets and calmly explained, "There's not a single cartographer who can help us leverage the terrain for battle. For a top-tier gamer like Keller, this terrain strategy stuff is easy. Those damn guilds are exploiting the neglected stretches of territory surrounding us to attack." Finally, he honestly shared his plan with Rin. "So we will use the time before Father's next campaign to map this entire area." The smile on Keller's lips gradually turned sly. "So Father can wipe them all out, I will help him." His urge to conquer was sparked again. "Alright, now, it is time to officially make my escape." Right after that, Keller discovered something interesting. This is different from reality. meaning he could create maps however he wanted. Then he turned and issued an order. Rin, set up a secret office in the castle basement at once. Rin was startled. Office. Seeing her so bewildered, he gave a brief explanation. I need a place to work in secret that father won't know about. Meanwhile, 2 torches still blazed outside Hell's office. He sat with his chin propped on his hand, lost in thought amid the flickering crimson flames. It turned out Hell had learned of his son's plan. You can't fool me, Kella. He suddenly stood up, calculations churning inside before it's too late. I need to. His eyes then turned cold as he thought about what needed to be done to confirm it. Meanwhile, Keller was acting all prickly. What is this? Ren beside him immediately explained. It is the office you requested, sir. Just looking at it made him seethe. What kind of damned office is this for the son of the great demon king? She was so frightened she was on the verge of tears because it had to be done in secret. This is all I could manage. Keller did not care and kept growling. Make it presentable. Presentable. That attitude was part of his plan. He had to be harsh with her at certain moments. But this only made Rin more suspicious. So scary, he was not like the Keller she used to know. Her eyes suddenly widened as if she had discovered something unexpected. But turns out Rin was starting to like Keller's current look. He seemed cooler. Meanwhile, he was still focused on the main issue. Should he work here, or not? Seeing her spacing out, Kella angrily snapped in order. What are you still staring at? Give me some coffee. Rin immediately dashed off at full speed at once. After she stepped out the door, she could still hear a flustered voice echoing after her coffee. Only then did Keller relax with relief. She was gone. Then she judged inwardly. This Demon King's castle has no dreams or hopes whatsoever. She then focused on the important task. Now, it is time to make her own map. In the castle corridor, Rin kept muttering to herself, coffee, coffee. Only now did she feel something was off. But what is coffee? From the distance, steady footsteps were coming closer. Rin, her appearance made Hell a bit suspicious. What are you doing in the basement without Keller? Rin, upon seeing him, grew even more flustered. Great Demon King. Hull did not wait to hear any explanation and asked straight away, where is Kella? Caught off guard by the question, she could not improvise in time. Island. Seeing that, he glared, answer me. But Rin was torn inside. Keller had asked her to keep it a secret. In contrast to the tense situation here, his secret office was quieter than ever. He still knew nothing and just focused on taking notes. How interesting. Never had Keller found everything this easy. Maybe I've just been lucky. This world is quite similar to the game. The hand that had been carefully writing on the map suddenly stopped. I think he could not hide the glow on his face. He was happiest when making maps. Right then, strange noises sounded outside the door. Within just a few seconds, it was blown open by a terrifying force. Hell, seething with rage, said, I never imagined you would set up a secret office without reporting to me. His sudden appearance left Kella panic-stricken. How could Hell? He had not even had time to explain before Hell drove a blade into his stomach. And he did not stop there. In an icy whisper, he said, if you want to kill me, do not skulk like a coward, come straight for me. Even as he coughed up a large mouthful of blood, he still managed to call out, Father. The sensation radiating from the wound in his abdomen was an eye-opener for Keller. This level of pain was on a whole different level. Is this the power of the great demon king? But that was nothing compared to his despair. I am really going to die. Luckily, in that precarious moment, Keller hurriedly held the map up high. Father, look at this. Even so, Hell did not lower his guard. What am I looking at? He hurriedly laid out his reasoning. The outskirts of this castle are far too disadvantageous for our war against the guilds. It seemed Keller's words had moved him. If we reshape the terrain the way I have drawn it, even through the pain, he insisted, it would greatly help in the battles ahead. Hearing this, Hell's eyes widened at once. He then decided to withdraw his hand and the act made. Keller shrieked in agony, but that still did not allay his suspicions. Then why did you set up a separate office of your own? He quickly came up with a plausible reason. If I brazenly said I wanted to help you, Father, you would not allow it. Keller's hand was still on the map. So I want to show you this, Father. Hell fell silent for a moment as he listened to him continue after his complete. And with the sincerity he showed as he spoke, as the son of the great demon king, I want to lend my strength to destroying heaven. As soon as he finished speaking, the two of them squared off against each other. Only Ren was so terrified his mouth twisted. Does he have a death wish talking like that to the great demon king? Who would have thought? Hell actually gave Kel a chance. How long do you think it will take? That very act also left him utterly astonished. Yes, sir, he calmly reiterated more clearly. How many days do you think you need to complete your map? With permission granted, Keller was thrilled inside. So even Hell understood his map. He did not hesitate and spread his hand. 5 is enough. But he immediately brought grim news. 5 days. The heavens will realign in 3 days. He then turned to leave. By then, your map will be useless. At that, Keller decided to go big and see if the world would marvel. No, not 5 days. I can finish it in 5 hours, sir. The most surprised of all was none other than Hell. He instantly turned his head to look. He stood there with a map in his hand, looking utterly confident. Within 3 days, we can finish the fortifications before the coming war with TN, so please, Father, let me take charge of the plan. Keller's attitude took him from one surprise to another. His eyes widened as if trying to see straight through the other's thoughts. Hell turned away with a faint smile on his card lips. Alright, try to finish your map first. Then he issued a warning, if all you've got is talk. He turned his head slightly, but still could not make out the other's expression. Then I will tear you apart along with that map. Faced with this threat, Kelly showed no hesitation and replied firmly, yes, of course. Hell said nothing more and walked straight out, leaving him alone, savoring his smug satisfaction success. But the joy did not last long. Pain stabbed through the wound in his belly, making him grimace. Then he dropped to his knees and vomited fresh blood. Even so, Keller still see that it held. That demon, would he kill me, his own child, if I am useless? Meanwhile, his badass move made Ren admire him a little. Keller had successfully persuaded the great demon king. Right then, Keller flew into a rage and ordered, what are you still doing, Rin? Don't you stand there, get me to the infirmary now. She frantically replied, yes sir. Not long after that, he was in Hell's office. As promised, I finished the map in 5 hours. The crafting workshop grew busier and busier. The forces in the Demon King's castle converged and began building on a large scale. Work was thoroughly divided. The mages conjured illusions outside the construction area. They did the same to the surrounding mountains, altering the terrain so they would not notice. Keller was wearing a satisfied smile as if my new map had just been generated in a game. Everything was unfolding exactly according to my plan. Meanwhile, at the Celestial Guild's rally point, a voice full of disbelief rang out what? The Celestial Guild's guildmaster, Hermerson, looked stunned. They are altering the surrounding terrain, but that was confirmed again by the Guardians. Yes, we discovered they fooled us with illusion magic. Those words only made him more anxious. What are they trying to go? Pull? He asked cautiously. Should we attack and stop them? Even so, Hermerson replied with absolute resolve. No. Then he gave a sinister smile. At this point, it is too late for that to be of any use. Turns out the old man had more faith in his plan. In 3 days, Tauken, the strongest army raised in Talyua, will arrive. That was what Hermerson had long been preparing. Talyua began forming Talyuan, their strongest army, many years ago, and now the elite force has finally been completed. He could barely contain his smug satisfaction. They can't defeat the most elite army honed over decades in just 3 days. The Demon King Hell will be defeated. Meanwhile, the Tauken army was marching boldly. Everyone, keep it up. 2 days from now, we will reach the Demon King's castle. At the vanguard, the one rallying their spirits was Kilman. In the name of Tauken, the era of the Demon King, which has lasted for thousands of years, will finally come to an end. Hot on their heels were Shrills and a formidable host. Charge, burn the Demon King's castle to the ground forward. She lavished glowing praise on her opponent. General Kilman's leadership is truly extraordinary. The stirring atmosphere left the young man in the back brimming with excitement as well. Commander Shrills, we will successfully hunt down the Demon King. Right. Shrills warned extremely confident. Look, that is right. We, the Tauken army, are nothing like the other guilds. Her eyes shifted to where Kilman was, and she stated firmly, we will make sure the great Demon King is destroyed. At the Demon King Hell's castle, things still seemed peaceful. But in truth, Hell sat with his chin propped on his hand. Deep in thought, Keller was not exaggerating about the map. He suddenly clenched his fist. However, I have to admit it is not perfect. It turned out the muscle fibers in his forearm were trembling uncontrollably, but my body is already near its limit. I can't be picky. That only made Hell all the more determined. Finally, tomorrow will be the day I put an end to everything with TN. At this moment, the mages are still hard at work on the walls. There's not enough time. Move them quickly. The weaponsmith below are fully focused as well faster. Everything is under Keller's watch. It is unfolding according to plan. This strange feeling makes him rather excited. It is different from creating game maps. His gaze stays fixed on the construction taking shape before him. He never expected he could actually change the terrain at will. At this point, only one thing occupies Keller's mind. He just needs to wait for the battle between Hell and Heaven. Just thinking about it makes him incredibly excited, and tomorrow is the big day. The next day, the day of the decisive battle arrives. The warriors below have gathered in a packed crowd. Hooray! Tauken is here. Tauken, the strongest army. Hooray, Tauken. Even Hermerson personally came out to greet them, thanking them for coming all this way. Kilman immediately reported, the Tauken army is ready. Let us go defeat the Demon King. Hearing that, he was visibly delighted. Good, I agree. Let us head to the Demon King's castle at once. Meanwhile, he was fervently rallying them. Tauken, let us go bring victory back to Talia. Just then, a strange vortex suddenly appeared on the ground. It kept spreading, drawing Hermerson's full attention. The light it gave off sent Kilman into a panic. What's going on? Once he realized what it was, he immediately turned back and shouted, "It is a surprise attack, everyone!" into defensive formation. A second later, an explosion went off amid terrified screams. "Take cover." Killman, safely hiding behind the shield, kept a close watch on the situation. That was Hermerson, standing behind the guard, was also stunned. No way. A pair of ears and sturdy horns gradually came in a clear view before everyone. From within the blazing flames emerged a familiar figure. Hell's appearance scared everyone out of their wits. Hell, Calden, why is he here? Earlier, Keller was presenting the plan herself. "Father, I have removed the barrier that was focusing the angel surveillance magic on us." Then she confirmed one point. "Now you'll be able to use teleportation magic without them seeing." Hell, sitting in his chair, was a bit surprised. Teleport into the angel's base. It was just a thought. You'd already made Seldora react vehemently. "Wait, Father, do not tell me you're gonna teleport into the enemy base." Tarm also voiced opposition. "It is too dangerous even for you, Father." But not only did they fail to dissuade him, it even made Hell fly into a rage. "You lotter, you doubting the Demon King's power." She hurriedly protested. "No, that is not it." While Charm turned deathly pale, "Father is not fully recovered yet." Those reasons were meaningless to him at this point. Silence. "I will make the final decision. Tomorrow I will make the opening move at Heaven's base." Back to the present. "Hell is unleashing terrifying power. I will kill every last one of you." Killman bravely faced his towering figure. "You bastard, you ambushed us." Veins bulged across his face in rage. "But we will definitely make you regret coming here. We are Taucan." Next, the Taucan army launches a full-scale assault with great fanfare, their thunderous roar echoing through the air, but does not make Hell falter. Hell stands ready to meet them head-on. In the blink of an eye, another explosion tears the ground apart, accompanied by agonized screams. From afar, Keller is standing atop the castle directing. He makes a quick assessment of his forces. "Good. I have assembled the entire force." Once things have stabilized, Keller boldly declares, "Now then, all preparations are complete." His fighting spirit is no less than Killman's. "Everyone charge." The Demunkin Legion below responds in unison. At that moment, the people of the Heavenly Order were truly caught off guard. The forces of the Demon Castle were charging at us. Before they could even form up, they were ambushed. What? Did they come up from underground? Only then did they start a panic. "We're being ambushed by the demons. Stop them from reaching heaven." The battle before his eyes made Keller clench his fist in apparent satisfaction, but his face still looked very tense. Everything. In the end, he could finally flash a smug smile. Everything was going according to plan. "We have not even finished with the enemy outside, and Seldora shows up to make trouble." "Kella, there you are." She stepped up with Tarm. "I do not know what drove you to do such a thing, but things won't go your way." He even voiced a rebuke. "What a pity, Kella. If he had not crossed the line, I would not have done this." Their appearance was something he never saw coming. "Seldora, Tarm." Tarm moved and swiftly and directly die. "There is no place for you here." His weapon drove straight into Kella's belly. It sank deeper and deeper, soaking his shirt with blood. Though in great pain, Keller could only stand there stunned. Seeing that, Tarm gave a sinister smile. "Go on, Seldora." At his call, Seldora immediately grabbed his sword and charged. "Even if your regeneration speed is insane. Next, I will unleash a killing blow once I lop off your head. Everything else is meaningless." Even after mercilessly striking down their own younger brother, they could still grin in smug satisfaction. Everything happened so fast that Keller could not help but be stunned. His eyes widened, and he felt a pang of emptiness inside. So this is the end. After Keller's head separated from his neck, the body standing by the wall's edge gradually lost its support. In that desperate instant, the figure plunged into the void like a leaf torn from its branch and swept away by a ruthless wind. Foremost was a face still etched with astonishment. Not yet able to believe reality, everything ended in a flash as the entire body lay motionless on the ground. However, that other head still retained a sliver of consciousness and let out a few rapid breaths. Taking in the sight, Seldara was delighted. At last they acclaimed Kella's head. Tarm smiled and urged, "Now let us go help Father." Right then, an energy sword was drawn. Tarm suddenly sensed danger closing in and quickly turned his head. In an instant, Seldara swiftly stabbed him, found a weak spot. Tarm gritted his teeth and spat her name. "Seldara." She then sprang back to keep her distance, lips curling with delight. As expected, "You're quick-witted, Tarm." Clutching his wound and staring at the weapon in his opponent's hand, he could not hide his shock. That is Mother's weapon, the kind we are forbidden to use." Hearing this, she only gave a mocking smirk. "We are demons. Who cares about rules? Weapons are made to be used." Suddenly betrayed, he choked in bewilderment. "You really?" Seldora, in a frenzy, raised the sword still smeared with blood and leveled it at him. "If I finish you here, then it will be only me left, won't it?" Her face then lit up with an uncanny excitement that laid bare her hidden ambition. Then I will be the only heir left. Those words made Tarm grind his teeth in fury. Seldora. Then he lunged like a beast. Let loose from its cage. I will destroy you. Yet Seldora felt no fear, and even welcomed the fight for the moment this blade ran you through. It was already over. The two clashed violently, mingling with her thunderous scream. Disappear. The confrontation carried on in chaos, unaware that below someone was still watching. Keller, her face pale from blood loss, looked up with trembling lips and rasped, "How could they be so devious?" Then my heavy eyelids slowly drifted shut. In an instant, everything blurred in my mind, just as I would imagine. His whole body, slick with blood, lay cold on the freezing ground. From below, an eerie crimson magic circle suddenly spread at dizzying speed. Then a great rift opened right where he would fall, and it turned out Ren was casting a spell. In the darkness, she took hold of Keller's unconscious head and dragged his body along. She slowly sat down, wrapping her arms tightly around the coal body. She kept hold of him, pressing the head to the severed neck while her whole body trembled, panic on her face. Meanwhile, outside the fortress, where the sheer cliffs echoed with frantic shouts, "Charge in through the secret passage." Hundreds of demons massed around a magic barrier and roared, "We will take a detour and hit them from the rear." But as soon as they spilled out of the rock crevice, a cavalry unit was already waiting ahead. "Foolish demons, we have seen through all your tactics." Hearing that, they were stunned. They already knew. Not wanting to waste time, the human knights and mages advanced to attack. "Go. Do not let a single one live." The whole pack of demons flew into a rage and charged recklessly. Even though their schemes were exposed, whether the enemy knew or not, no longer mattered. Fight for the honor of the demons. Across the sky, explosions from spells that could shatter heaven and earth thundered. Cries of despair burst out. There was no way back anyway. Amid the tremors of the battlefield, Phily opened its jaws wide, gathering the surging pent-up energy. Once it reached the limit, it blasted a dense torrent of power straight ahead. Right then, Hell rushed in with an exclamation. "Dragon's Wrath! Long time no see." He swiftly climbed onto it, and with a sweep of his hand subdued it, locking all of its abilities. Then he casually lifted its head off its body without the slightest resistance. Witnessing that gruesome yet clean scene, Kilman cried out in shock. "Damn it," he took down finally. He hastily relayed an urgent order. "Everyone, unleash all your attacks." At that moment, the demons swarmed in chaos like a hive of bees burst open under the rain of magic pouring down. Hell's entire body was swallowed by raging currents of magic. Kilman tensely peered through the thick dust and muttered, "Did we bring him down?" Yet at that very moment, a soldier suddenly screamed in terror. "Not yet." From within the thick gray dust, a long horn blazing with a blue glow emerged, making the very air shudder. Right after that, razor-sharp claws flashing like gigantic blades gradually came into view as well. Hell has now transformed into a fearsome form, a third eye opening on his forehead. At the sight of that grotesque form, Kilman clenched his teeth and forced out each word. "That form he is transforming, just like in the book." Even Srills was stunned, stammering, "That is, the Demon King's final form." Suddenly, the soldier standing beside her clutched his chest, trembling violently. "Commander, my body." Seeing the situation spiral out of control, she immediately turned back to rally the troops. "Everyone, focus, do not let fear take over." Watching that, Kilman felt the pressure crushing down on every joint. Damn it. Standing opposite Hell, he clenched his teeth and thought, if even my own body can't stop trembling, then it is obvious everyone else will be too terrified to move. In that moment of silence, Hell gazed pensively, straight at his opponent, the only blind spot in Keller's plan. He watched the flag flare up and burn to ash, thinking that even if we could instantly push our forces to the center of Heaven's base, then turning back toward the demon folk, he understood inwardly we would have no way out. His eyes closed without thinking, committing that flaw to memory. That is the sole dark spot in this plan. This was never held stratagem, but I did not raise this issue in my capacity as the Demon King. Lifting his head high to face the human army before him, he steeled himself, and told himself that a Demon King need not worry about finding a way out. Then recalling Keller's calm, confident bearing while laying out the battle formation, perhaps Keller had already taken that into account. And then suddenly, that cold face curled into a sinister smile. But that does not matter now. His whole body erupted with a terrifying amount of power. "I just need to wipe them all out here." Seeing this, Kilman hurriedly issued orders. He was about to go all out in his final form. In an instant, he lunged forward at extreme speed. "We have to stake our lives and give it everything." At that very moment, Hell's eyes suddenly opened, and an eerie golden glint flickered in the pupils. Immediately after, an earth-shattering explosion made the ground tremble. At this moment, deep beneath the ramparts of the demon clan, Rin trembled as they held Kella's corpse, trying to keep the wobbling head in place, waiting in despair. Her blood-soaked hands trembled as she tried to keep the head from slipping out place. Her mouth could only repeat the same plea over and over. "Please." In a hazy panic, She choked out, "Please, please." The scene flashed back to the past when she had shouted in anger, "Gross, sir. When are you going to use it?" Now, Keller was screaming at the top of her lungs. Rin gripped the arm with obvious disgust. "It hurts. Hurry up and put it back on." At once, she hurried to comply, carefully fitting it back into its original place. She squeezed one eye shut, not daring to look straight at the sight, then asked, "Is it okay now?" In an instant, Keller's arm knit back together miraculously. Sure enough, it worked again. Without stopping, he resolved to move on to the most important part. "Good. Next will be my head." Hearing that, she was aghast. "Your head, sir." Keller pointed at his own head as his rationale. "I need to make sure I can do that to my own head." She snapped in frustration, "Are you insane?" But then he took Rin's shoulders with a sincere look. "Because my head could be in greater danger. We will do it slowly. Cut it very carefully." She screamed in fear, "I do not want to." After tinkering with the parts on his body for a while, Kellett eagerly put his clothes back on. "That much testing is enough." Then he seriously instructed Rin, "Now go to Selders, servants, and tell them exactly what I said. Say it as naturally as possible." After hearing him out, Rin's eyes widened in surprise. A moment later, Rin followed Keller's order, stood before her, and looking flustered, half mumbled, "It is true." She then quickly reported in a rush, "Keller is plotting to kill Lady Seldora in this battle." The servant across from her arched a disbelieving brow. "What?" Seeing that the demoness still did not believe her, Rin deliberately whispered, "He will do it while the Demon King is busy fighting heaven." She flew into a rage upon hearing it. That bastard actually dared to plan something like that. Rin kept up their superb acting. "I think this will be a good chance for Miss Seldora to behead Kella." Then they flashed a confident smile, as if sure they were right. This will definitely wipe him out, no matter how incredible his recovery speed island. Back to the present, Rin ground their teeth and fired off each accusation. "Damn it. It unfolded exactly according to your insane plan." Then they shifted their gaze to Keller's battered body, still fast asleep, and grew worried. But she choked up as she scolded, "If you die here, what would any of it mean, you idiot?" Suddenly, Keller opened his eyes and spoke slowly, "Who are you calling an idiot?" Hearing the voice, she was startled. Her tone turned urgent. "Keller." His whole body gradually recovered. He slowly sat up from Rin's lap. "I really thought I was a goner. I guess my recovery speed drops if I am slashed by a knife imbued with magic." Kella clutched the gash across his neck and smiled confidently, "But it does not matter because I survived." Delighted, everything is still going according to my plan. Rin, eyes brimming with emotion, watched this miraculous return from the dead. She rushed over and hugged him tightly. "Master Keller, I truly thought you had died." For the first time, Keller was flustered by a girl crying and hugging him. "What is this?" He quickly pushed her away and said, "Enough. I am alive. I have to go now." Keller raised his hand. A small magic circle appeared. "This time, I will dissolve the contract between me, Keller Khaldun, and the servant, Rin." He declared it before his own magic and granted them their freedom. Rin, bewildered, watches his flurry of movements master Kayla. He calmly turns away, saying, "There's no contract anymore." Kayla smiles and tells Rin, "Live the life you want." Hearing that, she widens her eyes in shock and looks toward him as he leaves. Kella's broad, resolute figure receding into the distance leaves Rin ill at ease. She remembers when they were young. Kella told her, "Be my friend, instead of servant." Childhood memories flood back at the worst moment, making the feelings simmering inside her suddenly surge. Crying, Ren rushes forward. "Take me with you, Master Keller." He snaps irritably. "Why?" "Stop following me." She spoke up with resolve. "No, I will go with you." He too stood his ground and snapped, "You will only get in the way." Damn it. The scene shifts to the battlefield. Kilman, drenched in blood, looks up. "Hell, Cal done you monster." Hell is not much better off. His arm has been severed. His whole body is in tatters. Kilman can hardly believe it. How can he still be standing in that state? Gazing at Hell's impassive face, he silently confirms it. He is the archdemon, that is what he island. Kilman grits his teeth. Damn it. He can't accept it. It is infuriating. But he can't beat him. Looking at his towering figure, he grows anxious. No matter who it is, no human can stop this catastrophe. Meanwhile, Hell remains expressionless as he quietly casts a glance over the battlefield. There, the bodies of humanity were piled high. They've been nearly wiped out. Veins bulged on his face, betraying his extreme agitation. On the other side of the battlefield lay the fallen figures of the demon clan, as well as his own soldiers. The wound in his lower abdomen had cut to the bone, yet his mind kept calling out names: Seldora, Tarm. His arm was still seeping blood. The final name surfaced in his mind: Kella. Hell closed his eyes. He realized that in the end, they were not coming. Then he suddenly opened his eyes, his pupils shining a lucid gold. No, this had been his battle from the very beginning. This was the last of his magic. A vast area with his body at the center exploded. Now, well, all end. The scene shifts. Two figures are hurrying over. Keller sees the gate open and brightens. Finally, a way out somewhere he can escape the demon castle surveillance. He eagerly dashes toward that door shining with hope. Once he gets there, he'll be free. But suddenly, Rin darts ahead and shouts a warning. Master Kella, wait Kella, a bit impatient snaps. What? Before she can answer, lightning-fast bolts of electricity lash out of the two of them. Rin quickly steps in front and raises a protective barrier. While he wonders, what is this? She grits her teeth and growls. I knew I was not wrong about the smell of blood. Just then, multiple figures appear. Hell, Calden. It seems you really are a parent, even evacuating your children. He looked at the two of them and sneered. Lying in wait here as a precaution was indeed the right move. Facing these two strangers, Keller was a bit angry. Damn it, they have posted a watch at the exit. Seeing them blocking the exit, he was furious, so they knew the building's layout well. At the same time, the people of the Heavenly Order spoke up. We cannot let any member of the Demon King's family live. Then in unison, they fired off lightning element magic at him. Kill him. Rin still stood firm in front of Kella, conjured a protective barrier, and reminded him, Master, I will hold them off. Please run. Hearing that, he was taken aback by what she said to him. What? But what can you do alone? To his astonishment, Rin remained steadfast in her loyalty and raised her voice. I am your servant, Master Keller. My priority is to protect you. Seeing Rin like this, he gritted his teeth and racked his brains. As he remembered, Rin only knew a few basic defensive spells, and could hardly use offensive magic at all. Kella looked at her resolute back, and realized Rin was about to sacrifice her life so he could live. At that moment, seeing he still had not run, Rin shouted urgently, What are you doing, Master Keller, hurry. But in that critical moment, he suddenly reached out, touched her shoulder, and called in a low voice, Rin. Then Keller hurled her backward. How dare you act like yourself, the strong one? Rin, flung back in stunned bewilderment, yelled, What are you doing? He channeled his magic and declared with confident certainty, If you're going to follow me, then at least do not die in front of me. It annoys me. Hearing that, she froze, unable to process his train of thought. At that point, the people of the Heavenly Order witnessing this back and forth lost patience and shouted, You idiot! Now, you've got no way out. He raised his staff and gathered power. They say intermediate level magic is enough to take down Keller, the weakest in the Demon King's castle. Kill him. Facing these thugs, Kayla clenched his teeth in silent anger. He had always been timid, afraid to use his power, and had never revealed his true ability. In an instant, he nimbly dodged the spell fired at him, thinking to himself, So everything you people know about me is wrong. Behind him, Rin still could not understand why he was acting like this. Why would Master Kella? Seeing his attack easily dodged by Kella, he began to question everything. No way. I thought his magic power was only low tier. Kella's silhouette swept past, leaving only after images. By then, Kella had already appeared over him and pinned him down. Howard wrapped around Keller's entire body, his eyes full of disgust. Is that so? Then I suppose you should double-check your sources. He clamped the hand around the man's face, making his expression even more terrified. Wait. Keller did not bother listening to another word, and directly applied more force, pressing his face down into the floor. And just like that, the Heavenly Order's man was knocked unconscious by the assault, his life or death still unknown. Rin saw this with their own eyes, and felt it unbelievable deep down. No way. He defeated the Heavenly Order's mage with his own magic power. Seeing him swiftly deal with their comrade, they were horrified. No way. You were supposed to be just a weakling with no combat ability. Hearing them say that, Keller slowly replied to them, and I already said that information was wrong. At the same time, they funneled magic into their staves and threatened, If that is how it is, then you are forcing us. We will use the light land spell. Inwardly, they were taking a gamble with a light land spell if we pour all our mana into a single strike. As each spear gradually took shape, and their voices stayed firm, If we fail, then we will die. Seeing that Rin anxiously rushed in, No, Master, get back. Luckily, Rin stepped forward and blocked some of the spear for Keller, but he in the back still got skewered anyway. Keller gritted his teeth, looking at these magic spears with the I can't move. At this moment, Rin's condition did not look good. She trembled as she spoke. Master. She struggled to look toward him, forcing out a few words to him. I am sorry. I failed to protect you. Seeing how wretched they were, the people of the Celestial Order were overjoyed. We did it. It hit perfectly. They drew the swords at their waist to finish them off. This is your end. Suddenly, a teammate stopped him. Wait. Do not you think we deserve a little reward for all this trouble? He asked back, confused. What? Ignoring everyone. He closed it on Rin, lifted her chin with his hand and said, Do not you think she's worth playing with? She clenched her teeth in disgust. Scum. Facing these disgusting bastards, Rin shouted, I know what you did to us demons. He immediately drew his sword to threaten her. Shut up. I will have my fun with you soon. Behind them, Keller stared at the scene in shock. So humans in this world also treat others like objects. He walked toward Keller with his sword. But first, I have to kill the Demon King's precious pet. He glanced at the exit, right in front of him, and cursed. Damn it. The exit is right there. I can't believe I am gonna die like this. Keller could not accept it, thinking to himself, I was so close. Right then, he smirked slyly, raised his sword high to finish him off. Die. Rin helplessly shut his eyes and shouted the name, Master Keller. Suddenly, a purple aura wrapped around his body, leaving him bewildered. That aura enveloped Keller's entire body. His thoughts grew sluggish. What is this feeling, someone? His coming. Before him stood the silhouette of a familiar figure, Hell. Keller clenched his teeth in anxiety. Had he already finished the battle? Seeing his cold demeanor, he grew afraid for his plan. Keller squeezed his eyes shut, awaiting punishment to befall him. Is it ruined? Suddenly, Health spoke. Listen, Keller. I have fought countless times and accounted for every possibility just as many. He looked up in shock when he heard that. What are you saying, father? He ignored that and continued. Seldora does not even entertain the idea of a fellow demon becoming the Demon King. Then came his remark about the older brother. Tarm has no ambition to become the Demon King. He hurriedly voiced his own question. I do not care about them. I want to know why you are here. Hell revealed to Keller that the Demon King has the ability to pass his magic on to his bloodline before he dies. He went blank at that. A bold thought flashed through his mind. What? He quickly explained to Keller. Even if it was only for a short time, I saw that you were the best candidate to become a true Demon King. He hastily waved his hands, refusing to accept it. What are you saying, father? You are mistaken. He ignored his refusal and proclaimed, Demon King, Hell Kaldan. Hell reached out, gathering power in his palm toward him. I will bestow all the remaining demonic power in my body upon my son. He stood there imposing like a mighty king passing down the throne. Keller Kaldan. He panicked at the magic being poured into him and shouted, Stop. Father, what are you doing? Before fading away, Hell advised, My son, Kella, do not mourn my death. He closed his eyes and gradually vanished with his final instruction, beat the true demon. The scene shifts. Over on the battlefield, his head has been severed. Shrills, her body covered in wounds, panted in exhaustion. Hell Kaldan. She looked at Hell Kaldan's severed head and declared, The Demon King is dead. Shrills grew agitated. General Killman, he sacrificed himself for that. Her whole body was trembling in panic. General. Everyone on the human side was aghast. What? Hell Kaldan is dead. They cheered in celebration. The Demon King is dead. Hell Kaldan is dead. We have one. And so, amid the human celebration, Hell's pupils gradually darkened. Back with Kella, he was receiving mana from him. That mana was like an eerie current. It shattered the restraints that were confining him. Rin was stunned to discover the light barrier had been dispelled by young Master Kella's magic power. She shouted loudly, Young Master Kella. The people of the Heavenly Society were puzzled. What? Why did his magic power suddenly surge? Keller had finished absorbing it. Smiling and out of breath, he said what? He raised his hand, gazed at the abundant magic within him, and whispered Hell. Keller recalled his overwhelming aura in disbelief. He was dead. He relaxed, smiling with satisfaction. The plan worked. Seeing Keller break free, they instantly grew wary. Damn it. I am on magic power. We have to get out of here. Keller stretched out his arm to block her. Move aside, Rin. His entire body was radiating a terrifying demonic power. I could feel the bottomless abyss of darkness. This is the power Hell bestowed on me. They screamed in fear. Demon, do not come near us. Keller shot them a vicious glare. You demons, what did you say to Rin earlier? Suddenly, a punch shrouded in the Demon King's demonic power hurtled toward them. He furiously punched the two of them, sending them flying. You are the real demons. The members of the Heavenly Order were slammed straight into the wall by that punch. They went slack, their whole bodies drained of life, unable to move. Keller clenched his fist quietly, acknowledging, this is Hell's power. I also soberly realized, however, that it was crushing my body. My body could not yet handle this much power. Keller asked her, Rin, can you move? Rin quickly replied, Yes, young master, he ordered. Then let us get out of here. Rin hurried after him. Yes, young master. Once they made out of the passage, he silently felt grateful. Anyway, thank you, Hell. Thanks to you, I was able to escape the castle. When they emerged, the Demon King's castle was ablaze. Keller had already gotten a good distance away. He looked at the clear blue sky and the beautiful scenery, his whole body at ease. I am free. Keller's lips curled into a manic grin like a beast, let out to play after a long time. He exulted, I can go anywhere I want and live the life I want. Suddenly, a streak of white light in the sky hurtled toward Keller. Keller stared blankly as that light merged into his body. What is this, that light? Quickly explained. It is a teleportation spell. He stared in horror at his body being teleported away. What? Keller reached out his hand and shouted urgently, Rin, grab my hand. She froze for a beat, eyes wide at the sight. In a clear light, they vanished from the demon's territory. At that moment, in a thriving district, Houses stood packed tightly together. That white beam shot down right near City Gate. Keller stays alert. He glances around anxiously. Where is this place? Rin, stunned by the overwhelming sight, cries out in fright. Master Keller, she exclaims in astonishment. I did not know you could use that teleportation magic. He mutters, it was not me. He speculates, it is like a warning spell Father placed on us in case he died. Ren raises a hand to examine her body. Come and think of it. All my wounds have healed. Kelly voices his guests. Perhaps we will have 3 days in this teleportation space. He says, I am certain he did this on purpose, so we could recover in an emergency. She nods, I see. Rin looks curiously at her now intact body. So does a combined teleportation and healing spell. He said nothing and simply assessed in silence. That man put a spell like that on his own children. Guess he really is a parent. Rin followed Keller and cautiously asked, so that means, the Demon King is dead? He answered calmly, yeah. He walked on with a smirk, pleased inside just as planned. After a pause, she spoke up from behind then. Rin said to Keller with resolve, please become the Demon King. He turned back puzzled to make sure how, why me? She shared her thoughts after seeing her recent changes. I realized something. You're the one suited to be the true Demon King, Rin declared. So from now on, I will do my best in the role of servant, until you become the Demon King. Keller felt awkward with a lot on her mind. She must have misunderstood something, but he just sighed and replied, suit yourself, making up the excuse that he was short-handed. After they had gone a short distance, she called out loudly, please wait, sir. Rin looked in astonishment at the structure before them. This place, she recounted, the magic nation of Arsal, where they cultivate talent for the sole purpose of defeating demons. And now, banners, hung on the city gate. The Demon King held, Khaldun has perished. May Talia's light shine eternal. After seeing that, Keller was taken aback. Wait, why a place like this? He worried, what do we do if we were discovered here? Rin, calm down and use magic to hide your horns. Use shape-shifting magic before they see you. He reluctantly does as told. Just do it. Even Keller can use shape-shifting magic. The two enter the city. Keller asks, Rin, tell me everything you know about this place. She answers, yes. What follows is Rin's account. Arsal is a small island nation on Talia's eastern border. A dragon appeared blessed by a mysterious creature named Watergore that lives in the nearby sea. Mighty heroes kept appearing that led to the natural development of magic and produced many powerful mages. Then came scenes of two peoples at war. They had long been enemies of the demons in one of the territories ruled by Talia. He nods. I get it. Why would Father throw me into a place this dangerous? Rin anxiously pressed herself against Kella. Why would you choose to come to Arsal's capital after saying things like that? We should pull back. His rational side told her, if we're going to run, we need to prepare. Kella thought to himself, to achieve my dream in this world, magic is essential. He looked at the people around him casting spells and marveled. In this country, everything is done through magic. Keller glanced at the structures floating high above. Magic is used even in the most ordinary buildings, and some buildings float in the air by magic. He imagined himself, if I learn magic here, I could build the castle I want in the game. Suddenly, a gurgling sound came from behind. Rin, embarrassed, hugged herself. My stomach. He looked around and decided, let us go get something to eat first. He bought her a bun and she immediately scarfed it down. It is a popular magical snack in Arsal. Rin happily shouted, so good, and Caleb beside her was eating with relish too. Like an excited child, she told him, let us try something else. The two of them went and bought 2 more baguettes. Ren enthused, this one's just as good. She kept strolling around, trying this and that. His face darkened as he thought to himself, should I just leave her behind? Then Rin suggested, shall we swing by the magic bar too to unwind a bit? Just then, Shrills raised a glass and shouted, drinks are on me. Celebrate the campaign against the Demon King, order whatever you like. Everyone in the tavern cheered excitedly. You are the best, Commander Shrills. The hope of Arsal? Hooray for Shrills. The greatest mage. Hooray for Shrills of Talcan. Hooray. Rim may be a lightweight, but he's already gotten into the spirit here. Hooray. Shrills. Hooray for free beer. Kella is groggy, trying to fight the buzz. Resting would not be a bad idea, would it? Suddenly, Shrills also turns her attention to the two of them. They still do not know what is going on, and are happily drinking away. She seems to realize something. Her expression darkens. Well, now what an interesting couple. Rin looks at Keller, who is leaning against the wall and panting, and advises, even if you are excited, you should not drink that much. You can't even handle it. She narrows her eyes and looks away. It is the festival celebrating the Demon King's death after all. He quickly retorts, you are the one who suggested we drink in the first place. Suddenly, a group of people rushes outside. Come on out. There's a new S-rank mission. The chatter drew the two of them in to listen, but the Demon King is dead. Let's go see what is going on. Kella curious. Why all the noise? Rin was just as puzzled. I can't believe it. She recalled the old Wanted, the poster for Hell, and said, until now, hunting the Demon King was the only S-rank mission. But is there another one now? Then Rin hurriedly pulled him along. Let's go have a look. A different picture had been posted high on the wall. The crowd buzzed. No way. I thought it was over. I did not know the Demon King's child was still alive, these demons. By then, Rin and Keller had arrived. Their eyes widened in astonishment. What? Looking at the familiar picture on the wall, she blurted out, "That is you, sir." Hearing that, Keller accidentally shouted out, "The Demon King is dead. Why would be me?" Everyone around turned to look wary. Rin hurriedly covered her mouth and tried to smooth things over. "He is just drunk, that is all." People chatted curiously. "Isn't Keller the weakest among the Demon King's children? That makes it easier." They kept buzzing. "This seems more like 8B rank mission. I bet every hunter will go for his head." Seeing things flip so suddenly, he cursed himself. "Damn it, if I do not want to get caught, I would better hide properly." Keller turned resolutely. "Let's go, Rin." She was a little worried. "Yes," but Rin asked him a bit hesitantly, "How should I address you in public?" Keller suddenly stopped, silently pondering his new name. After a moment, he had an answer. "Call me Chi-Wu." She blankly repeated Chi-Wu. Ren looked a little doubtful. "What's with that nickname?" Kelly snapped. "Just call me that." They walked together down the road and she started grumbling too. "That is really bad news. I did not expect so many people to realize you were still alive," he replied calmly. "Just find what we need and get out of here, and renovate as well." "Yes, Lord, she will." Just then, Shrills came over. Arms folded, she teased with a faint smile. "Another S-rank mission, really?" Keller warily answered with a short yeah, but Rin beside her quickly added, "We just checked." He studied Thrills keenly. The folks in the tavern earlier called her the Hope of Arsel, so she is no ordinary person. She did not care much, and raised her glass to drink. "The Demon King's son is still alive." Monsters. He hurried to change the subject. "Kel is pretty weak, so it is manageable." And Ren also deflected a bit. "I do not think it is anything major." Shrills did not react. She looked at the two of them pensively. Then all of a sudden, she lifted both arms and draped them over Keller and Ren's shoulders. Shrill's voice dropped. "It is not that big a deal. Even if that bastard Demon King's son is still alive." She kept talking, ignoring his astonished look. "I have noticed for a long time now." Shrills shared her impressions. "You two have a very strange smell." At this moment, Rin was terrified inside. "Is she planning to capture us?" With that, Shrills, her face full of interest, concluded, "You two must be." This made sweat stream down Rin and Kella. Rin was terrified inside. Clearly, she had set her sights on us. But suddenly, Shrill's expression changed. She put on a cheerful, teasing face. "You travelers have not bathed in a while. I want to swing by my place for a wash and a few more drinks." The two who had been tense were suddenly so thrown by the chains that they just stared at each other blankly. Rin hurriedly replied, "Of course." Inwardly, she breathed a sigh of relief. Safe now. The scene shifts to evening in a strange house. Keller is peacefully soaking in the bath in warm spring water. He looks at a floating plate of snacks and marbles, a fine cup of tea and treats he has never seen before, smiles, and picks up a piece of cake to examine it. Is everything made by magic? He relaxes his body, smiling as he lets himself unwind. "I used to want to live in a Rhea game." Keller is at peace. He closes his eyes in contentment. A dream come true. He happily soaks in the bath thinking being reincarnated like this is not bad at all. Meanwhile, Rin seems to be struggling a bit. "Get a grip, Rin. If you were discovered here, you were dead." She was bathing together with Shrills. In a relaxed tone, she asked, "The bath is amazing, is not it?" Rin could only give a perfunctory reply. As soon as she finished speaking, Shrills noticed Rin's urgency and asked curiously, "Why are you so anxious? People will think you are a captured demon." Hearing that, she forced a smile, trying to act as natural as possible. "No way." Hearing this, Thrills, satisfied, raised her fair hand and formed a round ball of water. She calmly pushed her magic toward Rin. "Let me use a fragrance to help you relax." Seeing this, Rin was instantly terrified. "That is a holy element. It is the worst scent for demons. It strips us of our magic." With a grave look, she thought to herself, "It will erase the disguise spell I am using." This left Rin so flustered, she could not even think straight. All she could do is cry out inside, "Please save me, Lord Keller."